7 TV.
Expressed on this TV program by the hosts, guests, and callers are solely their opinions and responsibility. They do not necessarily represent the views and opinions of Hot 7 TV or its affiliates.
Hey, good night, everyone. You're trying to catch me by surprise. Good night, a special good night to you. I know things have been hot. Let me just wet down the throat here. Special good night to all of you. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. A little bit of a different time and day. Well, same time, different day. And we were postponed from last night because of the action in our House of Parliament. Guys, how's the bow tie? Folks, send me a message. How does the bow tie look? It's good? All right, great. Great. Special good night to all of you. As usual, every time I go around town or anywhere I go, fans of the show, hey, you know, I had my mask on, and these two nice young ladies say, keeping it real. I'm like, how did they make me out? But anyway, they said, you got to give us a shout out. So a special shout out to my new fans. Well, they've been watching for a while, they said. At the Mon, and particularly from Capitol Hill on the Mon. Capitol Hill, good night. Let's keep it real. I know you're watching tonight, all of you. Special shout out to Kako, Babono, Laverne Spencer Drive, Balata, as we say around here. Babono, Cicero, Canaries, Bize is in the house. Good night to Bize. Thank you for joining. Ancillary, lovely. Yeah. Thank you so much. Toronto, Canada. Barons Drive in Soufrière. And of course, VG. Certainly not forgetting VG. I have some fans out there in VG all over the place. All over the place. Casamba, Entrepot. The messages are coming in fast and furious. Somebody says, the bow tie is lovely. The color is that of royalty. Things getting hot in here, man. The shout out Cap Estate and Flora Villa and all over the place there. Everybody wants a shout out. Wavin Chabot. Boy, let me tell you something. I have some fans out in Wavin Chabot and Entrepot and Independence City. Say, well, you ain't shout us out tonight. You all want me to shout you all out every night? Well, good night to Entrepot. Good night to Wavin Chabot. Good night to Independence City. Good night to all of you. And of course, let's not forget our fans in the diaspora. Alaska, London, England, New York City, Brooklyn, Bagatelle. Well, Bagatelle is not in the diaspora, but the message came there for Bagatelle. The Bronx, Staten Island, Queens, New Jersey, Connecticut, Boston, Massachusetts, Killeen, Texas, Houston, Texas, and of course, I got a message earlier just before coming to the studio. Dallas, Texas is in the house. Let's keep it real every week, wherever you are. I know you got the show. And of course, a special good night to all the fans in Radioland who are listening tonight with Champagne on 93.1 FM. Good night to all of you. Good night to Bermuda. Good night to Forestier. You know, if I have to give shout-outs any longer, we won't have time for the show. Yes, you're in it. Good night, Forestier. And just to let you know, folks, in just about 2 or 3 weeks, it's going to be the 2nd anniversary of Keeping It Real. And just to let you know, and all the fans on 93.1 FM, that is where Keeping It Real started on radio 2 years ago. Good night to Vieux-Fort. Good night to Bonte. Good night to Pierrot. Good night to Labrie, Choiseul, Tupa Tuambala, Massac, Ancillary, Ciceron. The bouillon lady. Yes, I know you there. Everybody says I'm forgetting them. Oi, Bamoya Shots, let's get into the action. Y'all ready over there? You're ready? The guys behind the glass say they're ready. So let's go now. Folks, you know last week I exposed what I saw as I exposed what I described to you as blatantly incorrect and false information by a particular talk show host, Trisha Lionel. That's right, we're keeping it real around here. And I thought that I was doing my civic duty by informing, because the quality, the level of journalism in St. Lucia sucks. I'm not the only one saying so. I'm just echoing the sentiments that so many of you have expressed for so many years. On other talk shows calling in, people in St. Lucia will tell you straight, they don't listen to the news because it sucks. That's not my fault, Pamwekidi. The people are saying I'm just relaying. So, Trisha Lionel gave some false information. How she could have done so and continuously through her report is beyond me. Nobody else reported what she's reporting because it's false. And there is nowhere where there is any factual information to support what she said. So let's go back to the first clip.
So the minister's salary, it's doubled since November 2019. So that was of last year.
That's what she said and I responded to. Folks, there's nobody's salary. No minister, no nada, no member of parliament. Nobody's salary was doubled. It was not. So the question is, where did she get that information to make that statement? From where? So you can imagine my utter amazement at Trisha's response to me last week after my show. Because one would expect that if you come forward, or if you've been made aware that you have blatantly false or incorrect information, that the first thing you do is to verify whether your source is right, where you got the information from. And then if you're wrong, submit a retraction, or come on your show and say something, straighten things out, because that's how you learn. Some people, their head hard, but they learn. We have that previous retraction. Let's play. Now, I'm left to wonder whether it's a pattern of behavior with Trisha in either deliberately faking the information or not doing her due diligence, not paying enough attention to detail, or maybe just listening to, maybe her reporting is PBL, Powerball Lawi. And there's no level of accuracy in it. But Trisha has been in this spot before. She had been. And previously, when nobody else reported, Trisha was like the cheese stands alone out there again. Last year, indicating that there was $500,000 or thereabouts spent for fireworks. I don't know what's discombobulating her cervelle or whatever, but let's get her retraction for that.
It is with great humility that I now issue an apology for a report I filed on Monday, the 18th of March, 2019. I erroneously reported that, quote, the visit was lauded by the Minister Belrose weeks prior as a means of giving attention to the south of the island as part of independence celebrations, especially as there were accusations leveled at the government for focusing independence celebrations too much in the north, with approximately $500,000 spent on fireworks alone, end of quote. I apologize for the erroneous statement, and the original report has been retracted. My team and I have produced a revised version of the report.
That's that. That wasn't my fault, folks. Don't be mad at me for your mistake, Trisha. Don't be mad at me. If you get called out, you get called out. But that's the game that you're in. That's what you're in. If you make a mistake, if you come out with false information, somebody's going to bring it to your attention. Don't be mad, Trisha. Don't be mad. But what really had me miffed was Trisha's response last week. Let's roll that.
Norbert, woman to woman, I think when you look at what you're saying, you're taking away from the issue. I did say that and what we're talking about is the salary increase.
Stop that there.
And I said that
Folks, woman to that's how Trisha Lionel decides to retract or to correct her mistake. Norbert, woman to woman. Apparently, Trisha, you have those two ready for me over there? Right. Apparently, Trisha, for someone in media, a journalist, you're supposed to be qualified, I believe. Last time I checked, so you are. I'll give you that. You passed the test. But I don't see how you can confuse, because you need to be very, what should I say, perceptive, very observant as a reporter, as a journalist, as someone conveying information, especially on TV. And I don't think that for anyone viewing out there, listening to my voice, and looking at the way I'm dressed, and looking at me and knowing me, because we have met, Trisha, that you would confuse, or your cervelle would be so discombobulated that in addressing a retraction that you needed to make, it just had you all foggy upstairs. But since that is the case, and since I'm a nice guy, and you cannot for some reason differentiate between man and woman, I'll give you a little help tonight. You ready with the man? So Trisha, that is man. Show her the man. That's right. Now, the next one is woman. Show her woman. Now show her man again. Man. Show her woman again. Woman. Then one more time, a la Sesame Street. Man. Woman. One more time, class. Man. Woman. There you go. I hope that helps you tremendously tonight, Trisha. So let's continue with Trisha.
And I said that it was doubled, but it wasn't. It wasn't 100% increase. It was 55% increase.
Pause.
And the issue...
Pause right there. All blasé. So it wasn't 100. So you see, I wasn't wrong. By her own words, I was not wrong in my correction. But instead of saying, thank you, Norbert, she wants to now, try to humiliate me or attribute a different sex to me that I am not. Foolishness like that. We keep it real around here. We keep it real. Trisha, don't do magie with yourself, okay? Don't do magie with yourself. So let's continue.
And the issue that I have is not that, it's 100 or it's double. It's that you are asking, and the government is asking, that civil servants cut their salaries by 50% while at the same time...
Pause that right there. See, again, not doing research, not corroborating information, not verifying information. The government has never, Trisha, asked for a cut of anyone's salary, a deferment to bonds. That has been said ad nauseum. It's not a cut. The government has never proposed a cut. the government has asked for a 3-month deferment to bonds, which would mature in 1 year at 3%. All of St. Lucia has heard that already. But then when she says, well, it's not 100%, it's 55%. Trisha, again, you're still wrong. Because there is nowhere where any member of parliament, anyone in the cabinet of ministers, got a 55% increase. It does not exist. It does not exist. But I'll let you go on a little more to compound your arrogance. Let's hear it.
While at the same time, these same ministers are increasing their salary by 55%. So yes, it's not double, but yes, this is still the issue. So, you know,
Pause. What is the issue? What is the issue? Play.
I like that you're bringing up that because I do trust and believe in accountability. I hope you...
So I'll give you the accountability here, Tricia, and I'm expecting a retraction from you pretty soon. In writing, on your show, anyway. Don't do magic with yourself, Tricia. So, let me elucidate. A cabinet minister, the increase was 66% from $93,141 a year to $154,742. The leader of the opposition got the same, 66% from $93,141 to $154,742. Other members of the House received, listen well, 51.6. Read my lips. 51.6% from 40,828 to 61,897. For some reason, the words are not getting to you. I don't know what caused the problem, but in case you didn't understand, I hope that helps. And I hope nobody fails me for my poor sign language skills. Now, that's enough of that. Don't do magic with yourself. Don't do magic.
Don't do magic with yourself. Don't do magic with yourself. Don't do magic with yourself. My girl, don't do magic with yourself. Don't do magic with yourself. My girl, don't do magic with yourself. Don't do magic with yourself.
Okay. So we're going on now because for some people it's silly season. For some people it has been silly season since elections 2016. So Ernest Hilaire, on his Facebook page a few days ago on his Facebook page, posted that he did not receive any salaries increase during COVID. Well, whoop-de-doo, Ernie. Whoop-de-doo. Well, neither did any government minister, any member of parliament, anyone. Nobody received an increase during COVID. So why was there any need for you to say that? Well, I didn't receive any increase during COVID myself. What does that mean? But what you fail to say, on the post that Facebook link page up there, that's it. I was not given any salary increase. Look at you, avocat usav. Kajwe avocat is plain avocado. Did not receive any, was not given any salary increase during the COVID crisis. If there was an increase, which I did not notice, can the Accountant General please take it back? Bava. If the Accountant General plans to give me one, I don't want it. If the Accountant General cuts the public servant salary, please cut mine too. Thank you. How disingenuous can one become or be? How disingenuous can you be? There was no salary increase during COVID for anyone. The salary increase and the back pay that you received, Ernie, was late last year, what, September, October, somewhere around there. That's when the increase came. So you received back pay, Ernest Hille, from June 16th, 2016 until last year. And all of that happened. All of that happened because the government was forced to pay. Because the government could not pay before, you know. The Salaries Review Commission had given their report, which was tabled in 2015 during the Kenny Anthony administration. The members then said that they would not accept any pay because the country could not afford it. Kenny Anthony said so. None of them did. But as soon as elections done now, in 2017, Robert Louis sues in 2017. But let's get that news report. Roll it.
Robert Louis filed a motion against Prime Minister Alan Chasney and the Attorney General on July 12, 2018, claiming 3 years' salary back pay for the period prior to 2010 and increases from April 1st, 2010. In 1998, Parliament, through the enactment of the Salaries Review Commission Act, restricted the ability of Cabinet to determine the salaries and conditions of service of particular public officers, including members of Cabinet and other parliamentarians. That power was placed in the hands of a Salaries Review Commission, which was appointed by the Governor-General. The report of the last Salaries Review Commission 2013 was tabled in the House of Assembly and the Senate in 2015. Then Finance Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony indicated that parliamentarians of the governing St. Lucia Labour Party were not seeking an increase at the time of laying the report in the House. As a result, no salary adjustments were made to the parliamentarian salaries. According to the final report of the Salaries Review Commission, parliamentarians were to be given tax-free increases in salaries in addition to duty-free concessions, but that did not happen. Prime Minister Chasney, upon taking office, agreed to accept the recommendations which granted all members of Parliament a duty-free vehicle. Dr. Lewis, along with a number of former MPs, felt disadvantaged as a result and took the matter before the court. According to the court ruling, the Crown admitted liability in the instant claim and agreed to settle the matter and make retroactive payments for the period April 1st, 2007 to March 31st, 2010, tax-free as recommended by the Salary Reviews Commission. According to the court ruling, the Crown admitted liability in the instant claim and agreed to settle the matter and make retroactive payments for the period April 1st, 2007 to March 31st, 2010, tax-free as recommended by the Salary Reviews Commission. Salary adjustment to the claimant shall commence in September 2019. The retroactive payments should be made as follows: 1/3 to be paid in September 2019, 1/3 on or before September 2020, and 1/3 to be paid on or before September 2021. All other retroactive payments are to be subjected to personal income tax. For the DBS News.
So, there it is. I mean, it all substantiates what I've been saying, and it all clearly indicates that you got your info wrong there, Trisha. But, you know, that's that for that. You know, that's that for that. There is this foolishness that's going around now about the state of emergency. Oh, Chasney! Chasney! You're extending the state of emergency 3 months to the end, 4 months to the end of September. Let me see. Let me make sure I can count before they say I give wrong. June, July, August, September. Yes, 4 months. 4 months. You know, 4 months. You know, should we take a quick break? We'll take a quick break. We'll take a quick break because I have a lot of stuff for you here, folks. I'll just let you know what I gave you a few minutes ago sink in, and we'll be right back after the break.
Avoid the congestion and traffic associated with Castries City and Rodney Bay shopping and come to Gablewoods Mall. We have everything you'd possibly want, from a sprawling supermarket to a complete furniture store, from your choice of elegant boutiques to professional photography, dry cleaning, a hardware store, medical facilities, drugstores, hair and beauty salons, an eyewear center, and so much more. We truly do have it all, along with a food court which provides sumptuous meals and free Wi-Fi while you dine. Parking is plentiful and shopping times most convenient. Come to Gablewoods Mall. We're the mall that started it all.
The Bryce water tanks are of top quality and highly durable.
It's a monolithic tank, meaning it's just one unit, which makes it stronger than the other tanks, which comes in 2 pieces. It also carries a Hellguard lining, which is FDA approved.
Bryce and Company, build for living, build for life.
Tibanan Caribbean Bistro and Bar, nestled within Coco Palm, a boutique hotel in the heart of entertainment capital Rodney Bay, offers a truly unique experience with the best food, drinks, and music. Open 7 a.m. to 12 midnight daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Tibanan specializes in authentic French Caribbean cuisine, delectable tropical cocktails, and the best live entertainment on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Tibanan also offers catering for weddings, special occasions, and conferences. For reservations, call 456-2800 or email reservations@coco-resorts.com. Tibanan Caribbean Bistro and Bar, where passion meets quality.
Television has evolved over the years, and with that, Hot FM Communications has made it possible for you, our loyal listeners and viewers, to listen and see what we have to offer wherever you are in the world. I'm sure everyone has seen or heard of our new addition to the family, Hot 7 TV. Now, Hot 7 TV will change the way you view and access TV. By that, I mean you can download the Caribbean Hot FM app on either your Android or Apple device, whether it be your cell phone or your tablet. There is also the option of viewing us on our website, www.caribbeanhottv.com. For the app users, simply click on the app and slide from right to left, navigate your way through. As you can see, it takes you to Hot FM, where you can listen to all the latest pulsating rhythms. Or Kiss FM, when you just want to unwind. But now, with that third swipe, it will take you to Hot 7 TV, where you can view all the latest news, our nightly newscast, or you can be entertained by our latest movies and entertainment programs in full HD quality. So you see, it's very simple. Swipe through till you get to your desired station. Click the play button, and you're well on your way to the latest in high quality entertainment. So now that we have covered the app, let's talk about our website, www.caribbeanhottv.com. We have made it very easy to navigate upon entry. This will appear by clicking on the play button. You will be able to view Hot 7 TV live in full high definition, or you can browse through our various options, such as our gallery, previous programs, full newscasts, or news reports. Anything you need to know about Hot 7 TV is available right here on our website. Now, for some of you who may have heard the term plug and play, I don't know what we mean. Okay, it simply means power up your TV set, set up your antenna, and you can receive our signal in full high definition, free of charge. So remember, we at Hot FM Communications are geared towards satisfying you, our loyal customers. There you have it, all the information you need to stay up to date with the latest entertainment and technology. Connect with us anytime, anywhere.
Here's your guide to installing Hot 7's digital antenna.
Please note that all TV sets manufactured today have a digital tuner. TV sets manufactured before the year 2005 may not have a built-in digital tuner, and you may not be able to receive our free-to-air digital transmission on Channel 7 to receive our free over-the-air digital HD TV service. Number 1. Plug your antenna into your TV set's RF input jack labeled antenna or cable in. Number 2. You will now have to scan for the digital channel. Please note that all digital TVs are different in terms of scanning procedures. The following is a general guide, but the steps or the terminology may be different for your device. Press the menu button on your TV remote. Go to Setup or Settings. Go to Installation or System or Channels. Go to Scan Channels, Program Channels, Auto Scan, Auto Program, or Auto Tuning. Press Select or Enter or OK to start the scan. When the device says scanning is complete, accept the channels found and close the menus.
We have a situation on our hands and it's called the coronavirus.
To help stop the spread of this virus,
good hygiene is essential.
So be responsible.
Wash your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds.
Especially when you cough, sneeze, or blow your nose.
Cough or sneeze in your arm or tissue and dispose responsibly.
Avoid touching your face.
Have as little contact between you and other people.
If you develop symptoms, seek medical advice and stay home away from people until full recovery.
Remember those prone to viruses?
It's like older adults and people who have serious underlying medical conditions.
Be informed.
Know that the virus spreads mainly through close contact with an infected person through coughing or sneezing.
Know the symptoms: fever, cough, and shortness of breath.
Stop the spread. Keep St. Lucia healthy.
Call 311 for the latest information.
Hot 7 TV is the rising star of television in St. Lucia with our stunning 100% HD quality, fresh exciting programming, including a balanced professional newscast. We are now the fastest growing TV station in all time slots on cable. Additionally, over 10,000 households carry our plug and play antennas. Our mobile app has over 11,000 users locally and over 300,000 users worldwide. Keyword to find our free app in the App Store is Caribbean Hot FM. Swipe once for Kiss FM. Swipe twice for Hot 7 TV. It's compatible with both Android and Apple handsets. Go ahead, share the app, and share the most talked about TV station in St. Lucia. Hot 7 TV, for the viewer and the advertiser. It just makes sense. We watch trending. Hot 7 TV. Catch us on channel 117 Flow, channel 7 Plug and Play, or our website www.caribbeanhot7tv.com and our popular Hot FM app.
To advertise on Hot 7 TV, call us at 452-6040 or email us at hot7@caribbeanhottv.com. A fantastic package awaits you.
That's right, folks. We're right back. Right back. Had to get some things lined up for you. Not missing the action tonight. We're jam-packed tonight. So let's go. Hope you're back and you're not listening to me somewhere else in another room. You better get in front of that TV. So we're talking about the state of emergency brouhaha. All the excitement, all the noise. But yeah, Chasney, and the opposition were in the House yesterday and trying to make it seem like there was some nefarious reason why the Prime Minister had declared, and or requested an extension, come to the House for an extension of the state of emergency. And stop, my gosh. Always doom and gloom, worst case scenario. What if this, if that happened, will you abuse your powers? Has any power been abused? Has the government abused any powers under the state of emergency since it was declared? No. But always the little thing. You didn't do anything, but what if, rumor has it, that's too much power. You must have some plan. All along, not presenting one shred of evidence. I suspect some of these people need medication. Pistut bagay. Siya bay mo ve kay fet. I mean, people like that. This is a mental disorder. Hello? Something wrong. Everything. You have friends like that, folks? You have friends? Everything you tell them, something wrong. It's not going to work out. I don't know what experiences these people have had in their lives, in their family, in their love life, in work, in whatever they do. Whatever it is you tell some of these people. Worst case. Boy, don't do that, boy. They'll take your money. Boy, you girl, this, that. Talking about boy and girl, I come into that just now, the house. I mean, what is it? You want to do DSH? When it was y'all negotiating, it was negotiating fine. As this government come in, DSH mal. You put 15% VAT on the people. Munkahele, businesses closing down. Viewfort is a ghost town. Things going down the drain. 15% VAT. The government come in, take off 2.5%. So something wrong. Something wrong. Everything. Move from VH to OKEO, something wrong. They have some undercover thing going on. A bagay mal, a bagay fet, a bagay female. Everything. Extend the state of emergency, something wrong. Doing the right things, we are the worst prepared. What is it? Build a causeway to Pigeon Point? Wrong. Build the Millennium Tunnel? Wrong. Everything. Everything for the SLP is wrong. As long as they're not in office, it's wrong. It's no good. The same civil servants that were there when SLP was in office, the same civil servants in Ministry of Finance preparing the budget, the same civil servants doing everything. Same statistics staff. The same IMF, the same World Bank, the same CDB, the same ECCB when the SLP in office. As soon as this government come in, they're dealing with them. Any numbers that come out from them, wrong. The tourism figures, wrong. They're not right. Something wrong. Everything. I mean, come on. Yo baizot limye, monsieur. Oblige se limye yo baizot. I mean, gosh. I mean, what Crazy said? Madness is gladness. Must have, eh? I'm just like the tree on the square. Anyway, state of emergency. All kind of conspiracy theories about the state of emergency. Almost every single, all they tell you about, Trinidad and St. Vincent didn't declare state of emergency. They will tell you that. 2 islands. But all the others, all the others who established, who implemented the state of emergency, they ain't telling you that, eh? They're not telling you that. Michael Chasney was an ambassador. He was given honors. Kisa OBE, kisa ye, ma paweng. When SLP was in office, this government come in tut bagay. They're all wrong, upside down. Upside down, nepotism, Ektut Kalte Bagay. He was declared by Kenny Anthony of one of the greatest businessmen in St. Lucia and being so magnanimous and has done so many things for St. Lucia. Call UWP at way. Say a lot. L'histoire. My gosh. Anyway, let's get back to the state of emergency. You see, the more you lie or you give false information, the longer your nose gets. That's what they say in the stories. But let's put up the Health Act. Let's put that up. Let's put that up. You have it. Great. The Health Practitioners Act. And listen, folks, you can read, but I'll read it along with you too. I'll read it along with you too, because some people are disingenuous. It says registration in state of emergency. 1. Notwithstanding any provisions of this act, where at any time, in the opinion of the Governor General, a state of emergency renders it necessary, the Governor General, acting on the advice of the CMO, may authorize a person to practice as a general practitioner, a doctor, a nurse, or temporary practitioner, and to issue a practicing certificate to a person who shows that, to the satisfaction of the Governor General, that the person is of good character and holds a qualification from any university or other institution in any country which is authorized by law of such a country to grant such a qualification. Come back to me there. So it means that any person, once you authorize from your country, because of the state of emergency, the Governor General can now authorize you to work, to render services in St. Lucia because of the state of emergency. That is the power the state of emergency gives him. But you see, some people have you believe that state of emergency is just to impede people, is just to lock up people and all of that nonsense. Right? They conveniently ignoring the critical things that are important that the state of emergency allows. But sometimes people think that you think the same way that they do. That's what it is. That you would do the same things that they would do. That you would abuse people the way they do. Some people think like that. So now, and that such qualification furnishes a sufficient guarantee of the possession of the requisite knowledge and skill for the efficient practice of medicine or dentistry, and he or she otherwise fulfills the conditions prescribed in this act. But let's look at number 2, the critical part of it. Now remember, folks, remember a number of weeks ago, the Cubans came to St. Lucia. Everyone, hey, the Cubans. Number 1, the Cubans, see them? At UNA, came in on a Bahamas Air 737. Look at them in Viewport at UNA Airport. Everybody was applauding them. How did they get to St. Lucia? I'll tell you. Because of the state of emergency. Now let's go to section 2, 39.2 at the bottom. A person registered under subsection 1, which I just read to you, shall cease to be registered if the Governor General at any time by order declares that the state of emergency, which was the occasion for their registration, has ceased. So if, that's it. So if they cancel the state of emergency, allow it to expire, all the Cuban doctors and nurses will no longer be authorized to function in St. Lucia. You see? You see? But you think the people who saying that they don't know that? You think they don't know? You see? That is the wickedness, the maliciousness of some people. And they're preying on the ignorance or the lack of knowledge or the lack of knowing of people in St. Lucia. That is what they do. Okay? So now, let me show you. Let me show you, folks, the extraordinary edition of the Gazette, which authorized, based on that act, that the Governor General authorized the Cubans to work in St. Lucia. Page 2 of the Gazette. Yeah, there we go. Hold on, hold it there. Can you zoom in and give me the date on that? Friday, April the 3rd. Let them see. They must see. Keep it real around here. April the 3rd, 2020. Let's go to page 2. Page number 2. You see what it says? Cuban medical team. Take notice of the Cuban medical team assisting with the occurrence of COVID-19 during the state of emergency declared by the Governor General by proclamation of state of emergency published as statutory instrument number 39 of 2020, consisting of the medical doctors and bachelor nurses listed below. Let your eyes see, folks. Abdel Abad Echevarria Rubio. Number 2, Alexander Lemus Gomez. Number 3, Antonia Tejera Mesa. Number 4, Dailin Walter Furniel. Number 5, Ibet Mercedes Vidal Valdez. Number 6, Iliet Vidal Vasquez. Number 7, Jose Luis Lopez Gonzalez. Number 8, Lenier Claro Leon. Number 9, Michelle Trenal Guerrero. Number 10, Omar Tamayo Gallardo. And number 11, Yanesi Pons Moya. Those are the doctors. Usali Puko, the bachelor nurses Aba. Number 1, Aler Piedra Suarez. I'm not reading anymore for you. I'm not reading anymore. 114 tisa gauge me pasek. Gauge me pasek. So you see there, folks, let's go back to the previous JPEG. Health Practitioners Act. Number 2 at the bottom tells you that if the state of emergency is cancelled or is allowed to expire, all of these practitioners who were authorized because of the powers vested to the Governor General in the state of emergency, they will no longer be able to function in St. Lucia. Because if they had to go through the regular process, and don't even make me talk about the regular process involving this Cuban situation. Don't make me go there. Because now is not the time for that, but it will come out. I'm going to take a line from some people. It will come out at the appropriate time. The efforts, the measures, the shameless things that some people did to prevent certain things from happening, to safeguard the lives and well-being of the people of St. Lucia during this state of emergency. I'm keeping it real with you, and I promise you, I will drop it like it's hot for you all. Soon! All of these no-gooders out there pretending they care about St. Lucia want to frustrate the efforts of the government to render assistance and to render health care to the people of St. Lucia. You all have no shame. Shame! I wish I could call you all other names on air. Some names start with B, some names start with F, but I won't say it. But nevertheless, continuing with the state of emergency, a lot of people bawling about opening up. Oh my God, oh my God. But at the same time, people bawling no work. People with businesses want to open. Why y'all ain't letting the people open their business, the hairdressers and this, that? How many business going down the drain because the country's closed? But you have to find a happy medium. It will not be perfect between health and between the economy. Go one way alone, people dying, business scafini. Go the other way for the money, munka more, COVID. So what do? You have a phased approach to reopening the country. Just like when it's raining, you have an umbrella. You look outside or you watch the news or you listen to your radio. Weather forecast. Periods of rain today. Periods of COVID. So you go out with your umbrella. Leave out the sun shining. You know by 12 o'clock it's going to be raining. You have your umbrella, you put it up. When the rain stops, you take it down. These are the measures you take. There are things that you do. If X happened, okay, well, we have to go back to what we were doing in phase 2. If things lighten up, if you haven't had an infection in a month, if you haven't had this, if you haven't had that, then okay, let's go to the next step. That's how you do things. Because I'll tell you something, folks, COVID is going to be here for a few years. Unless you get a vaccine, and there is the fix or getting the vaccine ain't going to get here next week. Any approved medication usually is in about a year, 18 months. What are you going to do? Lock down the country until 18 months if they get a vaccine? You see, these are the things you have to be realistic. You have to keep it real. So anyway, oh, they want to call us early elections in September. That's why they don't want the SLP, the opposition, to be able to rally and to have... Stop the foolishness, man. Are you stupid so? But if the SLP or the opposition cannot have a meeting, cannot have a rally, the UWP can't do it either, dummy. Stop insulting people's intelligence. Stop that nonsense, man. You know, this, man. I mean, everything is the worst case scenario. The same thing when the state of emergency initially was brought to the House. Oh, we hope you don't abuse your powers on this, that, but we understand the need. We understand the need for it, but we'll be watching vigilantly. Honestly, I said so. We'll be watching. We feel very uncomfortable about this, all of these powers. But that's the reason for having the powers. So you start opening up the country. Brap, you get an outbreak, whether it's because people coming in or whether it just happens. The state of emergency allows the Governor General, allows the government, allows the Prime Minister, allows whoever it is authorized to take certain measures immediately rather than going, have to run to the House. Okay, it's next week we'll meet. Have to do this. For example, look at the doctors. How long you had doctors trying to get approved to work in St. Lucia? Months. You think we can wait months if we had that process? That's why the state of emergency is important. Because it allows you to do things, to act on the fly, to suspend the normal way of doing things. So, it allows the police to stop you on the road by order of the state of emergency. Remember that? It allows the borders to be set. Remember that? Can you imagine on a regular day that the Prime Minister wants to go to the House and say, well, I want to create 2 zones in St. Lucia and that nobody can go across? You think that would work? I mean, let's think. You better think. Would the Prime Minister be able to do that? What would be the reason? The opposition would bawl, but because of the state of emergency, not the declaration in the House, you know, the state of emergency, the pandemic that we have now. The state of emergency allows us to deal with that state of emergency by implementing the zones. 758, 759, 600 or whatever they call themselves. Good night, St. Croix. You know, these are the things people insulting the intelligence of St. Lucians, man. You all need to dump that nonsense. So anyway, in the House yesterday, well, should I get to that? The House yesterday, of course, you know, the feigned outrage. Oh, you call me boy, you call this man boy. Leader of the opposition, garçon. Tell me what garçon means. Tell me what garçon means. Boy. And tell me what boy means. Garçon. But all of a sudden, the feigned outrage, you know, just to make a scene, just to hype up, you know, the things hotter. Things hot already, you know, outside, you know, the gallivanting outside, the posturing, the posing, the strolling, the everything. Keep things hot, man. So là, yo bat yo to yo disparaître avant midi. You know, boy, this, that. Y'all calling people poodle. Y'all calling Dominic Fede, sit down, boy, sit down, boy. All kind of derogatory names. But all of a sudden, yesterday, now things have to be hyped up. Take it up a notch or 2. It's by show, by show. Convenient hypocrites. That's what I call them. But anyway, you know, the National Trust. Not my fault. We've heard about them over and over and over. Convenient hypocrites. Outraged about the royal jail, royal goal, or Her Majesty's prisons, whatever you want. You know what I'm talking about. Where was the trust outrage for the Grosley Cemetery? I have a laundry list there, you know. Where was the outrage for the women's prison? Where was the outrage for Golden Hope when Dr. Kenny Anthony said he was going to make it the Prime Minister's office or put government offices there along with the Prime Minister's office? Isn't that a historic building? There's one mama cannon in front of that place there. They took off the roof. You heard the trust? You heard the you heard the trust? Oh yeah? Nothing. That's the one I forgot. Talk about historic buildings. Was there any more historic building in the city of Castries, folks? Those of you who can remember. Forgot to get you the photo. Just remember it now. Rain Restaurant, remember that? It's like Louisiana, French architecture, whatever it is. Ma pièce, architect. I'm not an architect, but I suppose it's French. Remember that? Where is it? You're détruit. Did you hear the trust? Meep, meep. Nothing. Meep, meep. Oh yeah. Hypocrites. Hypocrites. But then so many other things. What about that building up that burned 2 weeks ago up on Bridge Street across from police headquarters? Utanaye? It's one of the oldest buildings that was in town. Anything? The royal jail that they're making so much noise about, was it in the register? Was it listed as a location? No. Mais yo ka fait des ordres. And then you had Ernest Hilaire in the house yesterday trying to liken the prison to the Holocaust and how the Jews want to. What about Adolf Hitler? Why do you think they don't have a statue of Adolf Hitler for them to remember him? Huh? You want to romanticize Robben Island where Nelson Mandela was for 17 years or how many years in solitary confinement? You want to compare Fuxal? Huh? You want to give them notoriety along with the accomplishments of a man like Nelson Mandela? The fella at Babono that killed a pregnant woman and threw her under a bridge. Huh? You want to remember that? Of what value is that? Huh? Of what value in that? Then we should remember all the fellas they arrested in the past few months who shot and killed people in town too. We should make a shrine where they lived, where they grew up. Stupidity. The silly, the die silly. Huh? This is not silliness. Zotque Adam unset lisi bet. So, what about the families of the people that Fuxal and others killed up the month, burned them in the house, raped the woman, and burned the house? What about the family? But you know, it all suits a purpose. Because not in anything that has been said about the jail has any one of those people said anything about the victims that were left behind, about the broken families, about the husbands, the wives, the children. Telling me you're making noise about some bodies that were buried in the prison. And when they moved to Baudelaire, y'all were supposed to do something and move them out. Oh yeah! Baudelaire was 2003. We're in 2020. 2 years ago was 2018. 15 years. Y'all didn't look at that place. It was falling apart. It was a haven for criminals and druggies. It was a stash house for stolen items. There were multiple fires there. The place was infested with rats. It was infested with pinheads. It was infested with mosquitoes. It was infested with bats. I went inside there. The place was falling apart if you went just through the front gate. The thing ready, you don't know, you have to look up, you don't know if bricks going to fall on your head. What you all did, the place was overrun with lendus all over the place. I mean, come on. You all don't have no shame. And you talk about, oh, we're going to have the jail as a museum and tourists could come and make. You all had Derek Walcott place there for how long? How much money you all make from it? You had Derek Walcott house. How much money you all made? You all have all of these things. You want to fight the government. I mean, and the audacity, a creature of government. Government created you. All of a sudden, as if the trust is an entity unto themselves, that they are some supreme authority, there's some supreme being, and who the hell are you to talk to us? The trust reports to the government. You under the umbrella of government. And you can say what you want, you can twist, you can turn, you can malmene yourself. That is the fact. And you don't have superior authority over the government. You make recommendations. What money you all making? You have just about the most expensive, the most valuable piece of real estate in St. Lucia. Pigeon Island, Pigeon Point. Let me ask you a question, folks. Let me ask you all a question. We've all heard of Pigeon Point. We all heard of Rodney Bay. Everything. Answer this question. How many of you can rattle off right now? Tell me. Who's Admiral Rodney? What happened there? We know it's historic. We know the British, French, this, that. But who's Admiral Rodney? What year was he there? When you go to Pigeon Point, you see anything like that there? That place is supposed to be printing money. You have the place down there. What? Maria Islet. The two Maria Islands, the major and the minor, the big and the small. You have any tours going there? You all making any money off that? No, you're not making money. But when DSH and you all start, you all, oh, patriots, and all of this nonsense, all of a sudden, you all had some big tour, a big tour of Maria Islet with the sympathizers. Yeah. But you know, I think nobody could have said it best. A credible voice in this instance, because it was outside of all of this brouhaha. Dr. Kenny Anthony, lash it at the opening of Baudelaire. Start it again.
In preparing my address today, I had cause to reflect on comments which appeared in the Voice of St. Lucia in 1958. These comments came from one Lord Farrington on his impressions on Her Majesty's prison. He described the Bridge Street prison as the, quote, perfect black hole of Calcutta, and noted that at least 4 incarcerated souls were made to occupy cells made for 2. That was in 1958. According to Lord Farrington, your jail is an abomination. This repugnant structure and system seems incapable of reform. The only remedy is to blow it up with dynamite, unquote.
You hear that? Second part.
For too long, St. Lucians have had to bow their heads in shame at any mention of Her Majesty's prisons. Generations of St. Lucians have had to live with the collective guilt and shame of the indignity with which we have treated our prisoners, our neighbors. Our society was too often held to ransom, our peace and security compromised, and the stability of our country threatened and undermined simply because our old prison did not work. The opening of Bordelais, therefore, is an attempt to correct a terrible historical wrong. By its opening and eventual occupation, we hope to end the inhumanity and indignity of the old royal jail.
Utanli. But not to be outdone, Dr. Kenny Anthony himself wrote a book. Some of you know it, At the Rainbow's Edge, of course. At the Rainbow's Edge. Let's see the cover of that book. There we go, folks. At the Rainbow's Edge. See that? Now let's go to page number 12 at the Rainbow's Edge. And if we can scroll down, can we scroll down a little bit? Great. Scroll down a little bit. And you see the very words that Dr. Anthony said in that speech. You see where he started speaking of Her Majesty's prison. I am often reminded of the comments made by Lord Farrington. You see there, hold it right there. That's the paragraph in the middle there. But look at the last line of that, or the line before the last. The only remedy is to blow it up with dynamite. And he's quoting Lord Farrington from 1958. Imagine the scenario. Well, I don't know how that 38 years later is factored in there. But look at the last sentence. That's Dr. Kenny Anthony still speaking after he has quoted Lord Farrington. In truth, that prison should be, and he quotes again, he uses the quote from Lord Farrington, dynamited out of existence. That's Dr. Kenny Anthony for you. Bring that down. Dr. Kenny Anthony says that prison should be dynamited out of existence. But lest we have our talk among ourselves and feel that there is no human side or a real side to it, many of you heard, but many of you did not as well, had the lamentations of a former prisoner at Her Majesty's prisons on Bridge Street. Let's play that audio for them.
You ever been to jail? To Her Royal Majesty prison? You ever been to prison? You see, we just there and we just talk. When Rasta in the 70s and in the 80s get arrested and bring there, all in the hills we were, they take us from in the hills planting marijuana and food and bring us to Her Majesty prison, cut our dread, make us eat swine, give us tea in Clorox bottle, cut the Clorox bottle and give us tea in that. Huh? You were there? You face that? Now you be mashing up that you're telling me about we have to have memories. That's why them memories not for us, guys. For 1 ounce of weed. If you see things we face inside there, for 1 ounce of weed, I glad they mash that up, guys. You're telling me about if the PM. I agree with the PM because so much sufferation that go inside there, my brother, to brethren and family members. Yeah, infringe on the rights. Take them for years, 10, 15, 12, 5, 4 years of sufferation inside there. In a holding cell for 3 people, 8 people in that. In a bucket, we have to in a bucket. You check me? Sit in a bucket and and 8 men have to smell that for the night and next morning. They even come in and open there for you early morning to throw it. You have to spend until 12 o'clock. You know what? You know how it feels to smell pee and stay there for how many hours and you just breathe in that. You know how it feels? You're talking about what? What you talking about? That's a Bordelais is like hotel compared to in the 70s and in the 80s. That is why Kenny saw it was fitting to take people out of there because that wasn't humane for people. We mashing that up. That's why I'm glad they mash up that. No fucking memories again.
Looks like some people have different memories to the National Trust. Some people are very happy about that. But you know, let me call the National Trust out again. There are a number of monuments we know, the really upfront historical monuments, like the Enniskillen Monument, like the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. These are historic buildings, St. Mary's College is. But one of the things that is quite clear in the National Trust Act is that they have to prepare a list of buildings, of sites, of locations that they believe should be listed as historic. But the trust, again, as I said earlier, is not the ultimate authority. They still have to submit the list to the DCA or to the minister, who will go through the list and decide whether they will agree with the contents of that list. And guess what? The Royal Jail was not on there. It wasn't. But I don't know whether many of you know that there is an old military cemetery up the Mon. Old cemetery. I remember visiting it when I attended St. Mary's College about 100 years ago. And the trust is responsible for taking care of that. And it is so sad, folks. It is so sad. It is so sad. I don't know, somebody sent me a message telling me to check my phone. Answer my phone. I can't answer my phone now. Buried at that cemetery on the Mon in 1973 or 74 was St. Lucia's second governor, Sir Ira Marcus Simmons. And I remember that name when I was a little boy going to school. Sir Ira Marcus Simmons. And he was buried there after he died. He was relatively young, 50-something years, 57 or something. Into the years of the trust, former governor and his family at one point was so disgusted, they were so saddened by the condition of that cemetery up the Mon. Yes, let's keep it real, folks. They were so appalled that they exhumed the body, people, your Tiwe Koa a cemetery, and they put it at shock. Don't play. They exhumed the body. Can you believe that? Turn up your volume. Somebody's talking about my volume. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, let's go on. Frigate Island. Somebody said, ask the trust about Frigate Island on the East Coast. I guess that's off Le Paradis or something there. No, I don't know about it, so you'll have to give me some info. But let's see that National Trust Agreement that was signed some in 2018 or 2019, what's the date on it there? On the way, 24th October 2018. Remember when they had all the Roro? When they had the injunction to stop the demolition of the jail, that same jail again? Yeah. Remember that? The trust, you te show. Me say you te show, eh? You hotty? But he was giving licks more than ice cream from Ferrens Dairy. Licks. They're giving licks. Who they fighting with? For what? All of a sudden, the trust is flexing. You know, the trust was doing what it's doing. All of a sudden, certain interests have infiltrated the trust. Certain people have their agenda in the trust, and I say so with absolutely no reservation. If you don't like it, you can tufe, mamele. So let's go down to page 2. Let's go to page 2. Page 2. Scroll down I want to go down to number 4, number 5, I believe. Number 5, yes. The government team agrees that upon submission of the plans for development of the old prison to the Development Control Authority, the trust shall be given, listen well, read well, expand for the 100-inch TV. Shall be given an opportunity to review the plans and shall within 14 days of being provided said opportunity conduct its review and listen well, make comments and recommendations to the government team for onward submission. So they will make recommendations and comments to the government team for submission by the government team to the DCA. Now let's go to the next page. Page 3. Look at that there now, folks. The above undertaking, which means everything up above, is in no way an acceptance or admission of any liability to the trust on the part of the respondents or an acceptance by the government team that there is any legal obligation on the part of the government of St. Lucia to submit the development plans to the trust. You understand that, folks? The trust not calling the shots. In essence, that's what it's saying. The trust is not calling the shots. That they are there simply to make comments and recommendations. Tiesala. Tie. Enough time on that. So let's move into the future now. You have it? The video? The fly around? You didn't get it? Oh. Anyway, we're going to move on. I had a nice computer rendering of the thing back. I don't like that. What are you doing me? You're doing me. And then in the House again yesterday, election projects. So because elections is a year and more away, the government shouldn't do anything. And then you say the government ain't doing nothing, they can't do nothing. You know, you can never please them guys. It's the same thing I tell you. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter. I have something there that I want to show you folks. Let me get my script going there. Something I want to show you. You see, there's been a lot of talk. There's been a lot of talk about the economic fund. You have the economic fund lined up for me? You have it? Great. Great. And Ernest Hilaire again, of course, talking it because he's the CIP, Mr. CIP. Mr. CIP. Oh, you're not telling us what you're doing with the money and blah, blah, blah. You're not telling us what you're doing with the money. That's last year. This year they come back again. Where the money? We don't know. You all not decline where the CIP money going. Whether, and you know, of course, all the satellites on Facebook, Frigate Island or whatever her name is. You know? Oh, where the money for the CIP? So stay hiding the money. Betties. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Give me number 1. CIP. Yes, there it is, folks. From the estimates of expenditure last year. And don't start and tell me nothing. Because Philip J. Pierre, or at least some members of the opposition, are on the standing finance committee in the House. You know, you might have a committee in your organization or whatever for sanitation, one for safety, one for, you know, whatever. In the House, it's broken up into a number of subcommittees. This is the Standing Finance Committee that Philip J. Pierre sits on, and they have the opportunity to ask questions about anything at all regarding the finance, because the finance team, the people from the finance department, are there to answer the questions, to show how they arrived at their conclusions. Next one. All of that is available to Philip J. Pierre is available to Ernest Hilaire. Don't do magie with yourself. You know? Don't do magie with yourself. Not that one, man. Bring it back. Let's go to the next one. All the breakdown, the codes, the project number, the agency head to bagay. Look at the numbers on the right and the left first. Folks, look at the totals. Look it there. Scroll up a little bit for them to see the header. Can they see it? Yes. CIP Revenue Program 2017-2018. It's been declared every year. But they're pretending when they're inside there in the Standing Finance Committee. You're party on here. But when they come to the regular house, ki asu TV, yo ka fe desod, come see the yo deck. Look it, next one. Show them the next one. Jokers, row, pretending they don't know, pretending they don't have access to the information. Look at their agency head, project number, description, capital projects program against CIP revenue. Because it's estimates, the budget is estimates. That's why it says revenue estimates in 2018. You see? You see what I'm telling you about, folks? You have one more? Drop the other one. All the projects that were funded under CIP. Mio, look it there. Hold it there. You see what I'm telling you? Fluff and bluff. That's what it is. Fluff and bluff. No substance. Now, let me tell you folks. You see, they tell you about, remember they were talking about, economic fund. They had put it in the legislation, but they didn't. They mentioned it, but they never created the economic fund. And it was this government last year that created this year the economic fund, late last year, the economic fund, which is where the monies from CIP was supposed to have been going all along. The SLP never did it. Ernest Hilaire, for all the oversight, he never did it. He never pushed Kenny to do it. Philip JP never did it. But it's always the UWP that has to come up and clean up the SLP mess. So let's go to page 3. Let's go to page 3. Oh, it's not that one. The economic fund. You have that? You don't have it? Okay, all right. Folks, anyway, the economic fund, let me see if I have a printout. I have the printout. The economic fund came into being, and that is where CIP monies go. Let me see the relevant section I want to read to you. The fund will therefore operate outside the consolidated fund, not where all government monies go in, because the Act calls for, the CIP Act, an economic fund, so that's separate. As a result, there are issues relating to governance, transparency, and accountability that must be addressed. On this basis, the provisions under the Act were considered to be inadequate. They were not sufficient. So this government had to put in measures for the economic fund. The governing body of the fund will be a St. Lucia National Economic Fund Board created under the bill. The board will be comprised of no less than 5 members and no more than 7 members appointed by cabinet, and will include the Director of Finance as the chairperson, the Budget Director, Chief Economist, a representative from Invest St. Lucia, a representative from the Ministry of Commerce, a representative from the Attorney General's Chambers, and G, a representative from the private sector. But folks, this came up in the House. Ernest Hilaire was there. Kenny Anthony was there. Philip JP is there. This was designed to deal with what they did in the creation of the CIP Act, CIP, that they never finished. So now all of a sudden they're doing as, well, where the CIP money gone? it went to the fund. And now, with the money in the fund, the government, for projects that are authorized under the fund, will apply and the board of directors will decide on the government's application as long as it complies with the law. But then members of the opposition have the opportunity to ask questions about this in the House, in the Standing Finance Committee. So the estimate was 30 million or whatever it is, and there's a record at the end of the year on what it is. For this year, it's estimated at 30 million or whatever the amount is. But the government has to apply. So there's nothing applied to any project because you have to apply to the fund to get the money. So the government estimates how many people, how much money will come into the CIP, which will go into the economic fund. And then that next year then, or whenever is required, the report will be issued on what those funds, what the approved funds went to. 450-0777. With 2 extra hours tonight. Come on, man. Don't squeeze me tonight. Don't squeeze me tonight. We'll take a little minute on. 45. Put the number up. Let the people call. Let them call. We have anything you didn't play? Oh, yes. Of course. We have something we didn't play. Yeah, we have 2 things. That's right. You remember last week, all the brouhaha. Again. Oh, but yeah, the NIC, gouvernement, Chasnek, Avole la Hamoun, they say they're going to get $500 or 1 tau or 1 tau 5 because people ain't working. Look at that. Look at that. On social media, a check for $16.09. Disingenuous. But it's based on what your employer declares for you. Mais adan yo vle des salaires. Cheat the system. So if you get part pay during the month, you cannot get the 5 or the 1,000. It's going to be less that. You hearing anything about that again? No. So what was all the big hullabaloo about? People that trying to hype things up. Hype things up. Let's hear what McNaughton McLean, the communications officer of NIC, had to say about those checks. Roll it.
The reason why you are likely to receive less than the promised $500, as you put it, is because you receive the payment of some sort from your employer. Now, you must remember the amount payable under the Economic Relief Program is 50% of the monthly salary between $1,000 and $3,000. So, for instance, if your salary is less than $1,000, the amount payable is fixed at $500. If your salary is over $3,000, the amount payable is also fixed at $1,500. However, if you receive financial assistance or income from your employer during the month or say the period you are claiming for, then that amount payable by the NIC will be reduced by the amount paid by your employer. A typical example would be someone who qualifies for, say, $500 under the ERP and receives some financial assistance in the amount of $300 from their employer for the month of April. NIC will deduct $300 and pay the balance of $200 to the claimant. If that same individual receives no assistance from the employer the following month, then they will get the full $500. Of course, we must remember that all claimants must satisfy the other qualifying conditions required for the ERP. And that is, claimants had to have been employed in February 2020 and are currently out of work because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Claimants must have contributed to the NIC at least 1 month prior to February 2020. We must remember that the ERP was designed to provide income support to NIC contributors and not income replacement. Payment is calculated based on the information on our system as well as the information submitted by the employer along with the information you provided when you apply. I really hope that clarifies it for you. If you still have concerns, you can always reach out by contacting us, or you can send an email to covid19@stlucianic.org.
Well, there you go. So much for that. 450-0777. Let's squeeze in a few calls there, folks. I know I told you it was going to be hot tonight. It was going to be packed. It was going to be packed. You know? I keep it real with you. Yes. So, we have St. Jude's. Hey. I told you. Every week, buddy boy. Every week. Gonna keep you updated. St. Jude's. Let's roll the photos that I got of St. Jude's. We have a call? We have a call. Good night. You're on the air.
Mr. Williams, good day.
Good night. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Thanks for calling.
Excellent show as usual.
Thank you very much.
But you know, the truth is that the opposition is the opposition. And so no matter what the government does, they will always find a reason to find some fault, some flaw, something to blame. So these guys have their game plan. They're onto the government, you could say at every corner, at every angle. So everything that the government says and do, they will attack it. And unfortunately, this is the worst thing that's happening to the development, the thrust that this government has for this country. Unfortunately, it's getting said too often by the opposition. It's on the media. It's everywhere. So I'm declaring that the UWPR needs to do something to counter whatever that the Labour Party is doing. You, Mr. Williams, you're doing an excellent job, but then you are in the minority, unfortunately, based on the other side's PR and so on and so forth. The UWP needs to get its PR machinery together. You know, get it out there. There's a senior communication officer, and you are laying it down so beautifully. Look at the documents that you've presented. You know, how many senators know these things? All they keep on hearing is the bombardment by the opposition that this is good.
Well, Paula, you know what I call that? That's the 3B's principle there. Bullshit baffles brains.
Oh, yeah, well, indeed. Agreed to that. Yeah, because I remember that the government went to clean the Balance Bay area. And that was a problem for the opposition. Meaning that, you know, that they were claiming that they were not consulted.
You have to consult somebody to go clean up an area.
Exactly. I don't know why you would have to consult people to clean up garbage. You know, so once again, the as you said, the 3Bs that you mentioned, you know, it's working on the side of the Labour Party, but the government have to counter that. The UWP is doing an excellent job. They need to counter that and let the people know what they're doing. You know, bring out the facts. And you're laying the facts out tonight nicely. Great show as usual.
Thank you very much. Thank you, caller. Thanks for keeping it real. That's the kind of call we like, you know. You respectful and your point of view. You don't have to agree with everything. Let's go. St. Jude's, we have another call. Okay, good night. You're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Yes, Mr. Williams. Good night. How are you
Good
doing, sir? I have two questions, Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Maybe directed to the trust. Considering the structure that is to be erected at the old prison site is not for the use of the National Trust, have they had any consultations with the agencies that are supposed to occupy that structure to get their input as to what they would like to have there?
I don't know, caller. I have no information on that.
Maybe you can ask.
I will investigate that for you and come back next week. Next one, let's do it quick.
The other thing is, if they have not had those consultations, what gives them or make them believe that they have the right to make decisions on behalf of those entities that are supposed to occupy the structure that will replace the old prison?
Well, I wouldn't have the answer for that. That's something you would have to direct to the trust. Thank you very much, caller.
Yes.
Thank you for calling. Appreciate your call. Let's do the St. Jude's photos there quickly. That's as of today, folks. Don't go too fast. Let the people soak it all in. That's the work. And you know the audacity again to refer to the hospital, you know, as a monstrosity. I mean, can you believe the audacity of some people? I mean, the ridiculous statements that are being made. It's just, you just left to wonder what is in their heads. Monstrosity. A l'hôpital yo ka fe la ou sav? A l'hôpital. I mean, come on, man. When will the stupidity end? The ignorance. Guys working. A lot of work is going. Look at that. That's from the satellite. Is that the satellite we got there today? That's the dialysis and some other building. Look at that, folks. Palais. On top. Bow. We have another one. On the side. Bow. Look at there from the back. That's right. Well, that's it, folks, for tonight. Another episode of Keeping It Real. Thank you so much for joining me, your host, right here, Norbert Williams. As always, well, it's not Tuesday tonight, it's Wednesday. But every Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. right here on Hot 7 TV. Thank you for joining me in the diaspora and all over. I'm Norbert Williams. Good night.
The opinions expressed on this TV program by the hosts, guests, and callers are solely their opinions and responsibility. They do not necessarily represent the views and opinions of Hot 7 TV or its affiliates.
Hot 7 TV is the rising star of television in St.